SwimOutlet.com delivers the best online shopping experience. With an extensive selection and the lowest prices, you're guaranteed to find the product you need. Here's what you get. Free shipping on all orders over $49. Free 1 to 2 day shipping on all orders over $99. All orders placed by 6 p.m. ship out the same day. Shop at SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop.
Welcome to Day 5 of Race Day from Swimming World TV on Wednesday, August 1st, 2012, brought to you by SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. It was another great day of racing in London, and Swimming World correspondents John Lone and Tiffany Elias have had a great seat at the London Aquatic Center for it all, and they're here to discuss all the swims from tonight's finals. Hey guys, good to see you again. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff.
Doing well, Jeff.
Well, let's start with the first final of the night, which was a big one, the men's 200 breaststroke. Daniel Girta finally gets on that gold medal stand after winning silver in 2004, not even winning a medal in 2008, and did it in world record time, 2:07.28. Michael Jamieson from Great Britain feeding off the crowd to get second, 2:07.43, and Ryo Tateishi from Japan got third, 2:08.49. Kitajima fourth, didn't get a chance to three-peat, and the Americans did well, fifth and sixth. John, I got to tell you, you've been following Daniel Girta since his debut in Athens. I mean, obviously you had a feeling there was a gold medal in him, but did you think there was a world record possibility?
I didn't think he'd be 2:07 low. I thought 2:07 high was a possibility. That was one heck of a swim. This has been building, his whole career's been building toward this. He was in Swimming World when he was 11 or 12 years old and pegged as a future star, and a guy who has fulfilled the expectations. And it's not always easy when you're touted that young. He's won the last 2 world championships. And like I said, this is the only thing missing. It's not anymore. He had a perfect swim, and he needed every bit of it because the British crowd was carrying Jamieson.
Yeah, I was on a side note. This, I think, by far was the loudest event so far of the meet. Having both Great Britain having 2 swimmers, and they're both seated really well. This stadium was just roaring.
Yeah, Michael Jamieson looked like if he had maybe 2 extra strokes, he would have run down Daniel Girta, which is odd to hear because Daniel Girta runs down everybody else. I mean, it's just, Michael Jamieson is a really good story because he dropped more than 2 seconds off his lifetime best here at the meet. Every swim just got faster and faster and faster. He was 2:09.8 at trials, which is why everybody was saying, he's not going to be a factor in this. And here he is going 2:07.4, I think is the 3rd fastest time in history. I mean, Tiffany, do you think this guy's got a great future?
Oh, yeah. That type of improvement at this age, it's not like he's a 15, 16-year-old that we've been talking about, that they're almost, it's a lot more understandable for them to have that type of improvement, but he's going to be one to watch.
All right, women's 200 fly final. The Chinese got their hand on the wall first again after 2008. Jiaolu Yang, who was silver in 2008, won today, 2:04.06, an Olympic record time. Mireia Belmonte Garcia of Spain was second, 2:05.2, and it was Natomi Hoshi of Japan, 2:05.4, and Kathleen Hersey was in there for 4th in a lifetime best, 2:05.7. Tiffany, you've been a 200 flyer your whole life. I mean, what was it like to watch this race unfold?
This race tonight was so different from semifinals. Yesterday we discussed how I felt Kathleen Hersey put together a really textbook perfect swim. I was hoping for that again tonight, with the added adrenaline would give her a chance to take on those other ladies. But Belmonte looked so strong on that middle 100, which is so exciting. But during that race, I told John, I said, she's looking really aggressive on that third 50 fly, and that can really come back to bite you. It didn't necessarily bite her because she still finished well, but that gave Jiaolu Yang the advantage in the end to run her down. So it was a really exciting race, and got to give it to Luzigi, who was in there for the front half of it, but she definitely was carrying a piano on that last 50.
Yeah, John, it's pretty amazing that we've been talking about Mireia Belmonte Garcia for a couple of years now. She's been doing well on kind of the lower level meets and finally breaking through on the Olympic level. And she's been swimming so many events at all these meets. I think she's got 6 at these Olympics. I think she's in the 800. I mean, what do you think of her chances there?
This is obviously a step in the right direction. And like you said, Jeff, she has versatility across the board. There really isn't a weak spot for her in the event she does. Usually you can say, okay, this one's better, this one. She's a pretty balanced swimmer. So you figure she medals here. Why not? She has the endurance. She showed that. Why not be able to bring that up to the 800? There's no reason to think otherwise. She's not going to contend for the title probably with Adlington, but there's no reason to be in a bronze medal mix.
Yeah, we'll definitely see the 800 prelim start tomorrow, so we'll see what kind of time she puts up. All right, last individual final of the night was the men's 100 freestyle, and just absolutely amazing to see Nathan Adrian get his hand on the wall ahead of James Magnuson by 1/100th of a second, 47.52 to 47.53. To me, I think the bigger story was Brent Hayden getting third, 47.80, a guy who's been there at the World Championship level, doing so well at World Championships, but every time the Olympics rolls around, something happens and he falters, and here he is getting the bronze. And also another great accomplishment, 6 guys under 47 or under 48 seconds.
You know, to the naked eye, it did not look like Nathan Adrian had it at the finish. Almost reminiscent of Phelps and Kavik in the 100 butterfly in 2008, where it actually looked like Kavik won, but somehow Phelps had his hand on the wall, 0.01. Same thing, he won by 0.01 in this freestyle, but I didn't think he had it. I really thought it was Magnuson at the end. And then a little disappointed in Cielo. There's been so much storyline around this 100 freestyle. Thought he was going to be a little bit more in the mix, but 6th place, and it was not that great of a swim for Cielo.
I think he's put all his eggs in that 53 basket. He even mentioned the other day that his focus is on defending that 53 title. This was kind of, hey, if he's there, he's there. And I'm not sure how much he's going to be broken up about this. I think he'll move on pretty well.
Yeah, he was out in 22.6 at the 50, so that does bode well for his 50. John, I got to ask you, I mean, Magnuson went 47.1 at the Australian trials. Yes, he went faster today than he went last year at Worlds by, I think, about a couple tenths or a tenth. But why do you think he wasn't able to replicate it? Was it just the pressure of the Olympic final?
I think definitely pressure played a role. He admitted it played a role because he talked about his nerves with the relay. And to not 47.10 is awfully quick. So maybe he is off form a little bit. 47.5 still one heck of a swim. The thing that surprised me, though, was that Adrian was able to hold him off. Magnuson is known for a back half 100 free. He's known to swim that thing so much faster than everybody else. And Nathan Adrian swam a perfect race. He went out just fast enough in 22, I think he was 68, and just kept fighting and fighting to the end. That ends a 24-year drought for the United States. It wasn't since Matt Biondi won that race in 88 that the Americans had won what's considered the premier event at the Olympics. That's got to feel pretty good to be the guy to snap that long drought.
Absolutely, I'm sure he'll. And kind of an interesting note there, Matt Biondi's an alum of Cal, as Nathan Adrian is now. So the Bears definitely keeping the history alive there in the 100 free. All right, women's 800 freestyle relay pretty much unfolded the way I thought it would. The United States won the gold medal. France was third. I thought they might challenge Australia for second, but it was pretty much Australia was comfortably in second. Great splits all around for the Americans. Missy Franklin just a tenth slower than she swam in her individual 200 free last night. Tiffany, was there any point where you thought maybe Australia was going to have this relay in the bag?
John and I were really discussing that throughout the course of the relay, and we pretty much decided that Schmidt's a beast. She's going to run down whoever's out there, wherever they are. But we just knew that there couldn't be too much of a gap between Australia and USA. There wasn't, by the time they finished the first 50, Schmidt was already with her off the second wall. She had moved ahead. So no surprise when Schmidt dove in the water that it was there. But had they have had a stronger front half, then I think it would have been a little bit more of a challenge. But that was USA's race all the way.
Yeah, John, what do you think about, Shannon Vreeland, her Olympic debut, and here she is in the final?
Talk about coming up big in the morning. That third spot, I think everybody pretty much knew Dana Ballmer was going to get the third spot, but that fourth place there, it was going to be a battle between Lauren Perdue, Alyssa Anderson, and Shannon Vreeland, and it was who wanted to take it, and Shannon Vreeland stepped up, got the job done, gets herself on a podium. The other girls get their medals, but to be on that podium, that's pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting indeed. All right, let's go through the semis here. We got the women's 100 freestyle semi, and Ranomi Kromowidjojo starting to show the form that we're all expecting of her at the Olympic Games. 53.05 to lead all the qualifiers. Melanie Schlanger, the comeback girl of Australia right now, is in second. Missy Franklin, who everybody's saying this is kind of her, in ranking her individual events, this kind of ranks fourth, is seated third, and Jessica Hardy's in the final for eighth. Tiffany, what do you think about Missy's chances for a medal here?
Kromowidjojo looked so good tonight. She's looked so good all through this meet. So that's going to be a really tough one. Of course, Missy did the unthinkable the other night by stepping up for that 100 backstroke right after the 2 free. And just discussing earlier with fellow watchers, Missy does better when she's swimming. It seems like she does better when she's swimming more. Yesterday when she did that 200 freestyle, it was the only event she had. So I think as long as she really keeps herself warmed up and in the game, she has a chance. Honestly, I think that's Kromowidjojo's race to lose, but I think Missy has a chance to get on the medal stand.
All right, next up was the men's 200 backstroke semifinal. Tyler Clary and Ryan Lochte 1-2, which is pretty much what we're going to expect in that final. The United States go 1-2. John, I got to ask, we know that Ryan Lochte's got this difficult double tomorrow, 200 back, 200 IM. If he's more than a body length ahead at, say, the 175, does he start to shut it down to get ready for that 200 IM, or does he really blow it out and try to put up a really fast time?
I think he's smart enough to know that he needs to save whatever he can for that 200 IM. Michael Phelps might not be as on as we've seen him in the past, but there's no reason to push any more than he needs to there. Now, that's not going to be an easy race, and I don't think the U.S. is going to go 1-2 for sure. I think they have a chance, but I think Rissa Kairie is going to be right there in that mix. But as long as Ryan sees the opening and sees that he's comfortable, yeah, turn off as early as you can. Don't make it risky, but turn it off. Save what you can for that 200 IM. That's going to be a battle.
I don't know, though, because he's such a competitor that we've talked about that world record, Aaron Pearsall's mark, being a potentially breakable. And when we talk about the 200 IM, seeing him later tonight, he could have easily shut down that 2 IM like we saw Phelps do, but he didn't. So I think it's going to be a physical thing. He's going to see how he feels. If he's burning, then I think he'll back down. But if he feels good, I think he's going to push through it and just see what he can go, as long as he feels good.
Yeah, I think that all good points there. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. All right, women's 200 breaststroke semi. Rebecca Stoney, 220 flat. We were sitting here watching it here and just looking like it was the smoothest, easiest 200 breaststroke possible that I've seen over the years from Rebecca. And here she is going 220 flat, almost getting that 219 we've been expecting from her for the past 3 years, I guess. John, is this going to be a case of she's going to blow it out tomorrow and we see 219, or is she, is it going to be just racing tomorrow?
Since she's a second, hundredth of a second off of the 219, yeah, there's a good chance we're going to see it. I don't know how low in the 219 she's going to go, just because of her history of pushing the semifinals at a decent pace, even though she looked tremendous doing it. So it could go either way. She might be just around where she was. Obviously, that puts her right in the 219 mix. It'd be really cool to see that barrier go down.
Yeah, my only fear, and I really am afraid to say this is reminiscent of the 2009 World Championships, where she was going after the world record that Anna Mae Pierce set in semis, and then it kind of nipped her in the bud at the end. But I think she knows how to smartly swim this race and be able to be so dominant. Like you said, everybody's 2 seconds behind her. Rika Peterson, Naomi Suzuki, Yulia Efimova. So while we'll be watching that world record line, Tiffany, you got to agree it's got to be a great battle for second.
Oh, for sure. Both those ladies being 222 low, I think it's more so going to be about who's going to stay in their own race instead of try to swim Stoney's race. But interested to see. I think there's a little pressure off Stoney going into tomorrow. She didn't break the barrier, but she's that type of swimmer who, as we've seen others, they've come back off in semis. She always goes for it in the semis. From the first 50, we said, wow, she's going after it. She's looking good. That's a really fast tempo. So I think she's actually going to be really comfortable and loose going into the finals, whereas had she have been a 221 high or a 222 low, she would be biting her nails going into tomorrow saying, am I capable of going 3 seconds faster than this? So I think that's really going to give her even an extra edge.
Right. All right, men's 200 IM semi setting up for what I believe is going to be the race of the century. The last time we're going to probably see Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps, or Phelpty as we like to call it, racing head-to-head in an individual event. Lochte's first, Laszlo Che is second, and Michael Phelps is third. Now, John, it's all coming into play here, in terms of tactics, but I think Ryan's got a little bit of an advantage here, and I know that, maybe Michael has a handicap because Lochte has the double, but Ryan has a little bit of advantage on that freestyle because they both breathe to their right, and Michael will be in lane 3 and Ryan will be in 4, so Ryan will be able to see Michael coming home, and that could be just everything he needs to get home in that last 50.
I think the other thing that Ryan's going to have to make sure of is that he just stays through the first 2 legs pretty much right with Michael, because his breaststroke should be better. I think he's a better 50 breaststroker than Michael would be. He's going to have the better speed there. So if he's on the hip, no matter what happens, actually a little bit above the hip, no matter what happens at backstroke, that's a good spot for Ryan to be. And then, I would love to see just them battling stroke for stroke down the last freestyle leg. That would just be the perfect way for this rivalry to come to a close.
Yeah, I think it's, everybody's predicting 153. I think it's going to be a take of 153 as well. Even though, Michael Phelps hasn't really been on, Lochte has been on for the most part, and, he wants this bad. He knows that this is what pretty much everybody is coming to see tomorrow. So he's going to put on a show, and this is what he's been training for 4 years, is to do this double well. And from what I understand, I don't think anybody has won 2 individual gold medals in the Olympics in one day. So this is obviously history in the making.
It's going to be a Phelpsy showdown.
Yep, it is definitely going to be. Well, you guys, thanks again for joining us. Get a good night's sleep. We're going to really need it tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, see you tomorrow. All right, so that's John Lone and Tiffany Elias joining us once again from the London Aquatic Center. And that'll do it for day 5 of race day. Be sure to join us on Facebook and Twitter for all of our recaps and breakdowns of every race as it happens. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.